like story plot, I think we should just kind of talk about like one, how we feel about the movie and like what we kind of took from it.
That's fair.
Because I feel like that's the kind of movie that has a lot of ways you can read into the story and like its themes. Like you can kind of read into that with, you know, because I'm sure you and I have similar takings from it, but
Yeah. Okay.
it's also I'll save it for when we start.
Yeah. Let's do that because I don't have a lot to say, but
Right.
When you guys are ready.
all right.
All right.
Would you like to introduce the segment for us?
I sure.
Yeah. Go for it.
Okay. Which camera am I looking at? I'm looking at.
Look into the camera that's your close up. So that way. Yes, turn that way. Yes.
How's the moustache?
Mustache looks good. It looks very dapper.
Thank you.
Looks like you could also tie one to a train. Tie one to the train tracks like in a film.
That's my secret cap. I'm always a villain.
Dick Dastardly.
Okay, here we go.
Welcome everyone to another episode of Great Stories Pop Culture Talk. I'm Phil, or the producer guy. You know, I have a bunch of nicknames, and I'm joined with Chris.
Yes. Hello, everyone.
And today we're going to be talking about Soul, that was released by Disney and Pixar back in December.
Yes. It was our Christmas gift.
Yes, it was
From
Disney's Christmas gift to us. Before the film actually came out, did you know it was coming?
I didn't hear too much about this movie actually until I was trolling a site that was telling me what's coming on Disney Plus in November, and I see this movie called Soul, and I'm like, this one completely flew under the radar. What is this?
Yeah, it was kind of the same thing for me because I heard about it while I was at work on the radio. They were advertising it. I'm like, what? Where did this come from? Because usually Pixar movies take like 2-3 years to work on, and usually you hear about it pretty early on.
Yep.
So the fact that this movie just like appeared, basically, I'm like, whoa, okay. Pixar movies that are rushed typically aren't great. Good Dinosaur.
Right.
So I was really worried that it wasn't going to be good, but like I was looking at some of the character designs, and I'm like, okay, I can see what they're trying to go for. Did you ever watch what was it? The Proud Family, or did any of your kids ever watch The Proud Family?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, it kind of looked like the Proud Family's art style, but in 3D.
Okay.
So like I was already kind of like, okay, I can get on board with this because I used to watch that show. And,
all right.
So
I had a big concern right away about this movie.
Yes.
I don't want to say this and sound like that. I mean, we just talked music in like the last two segments. I love music. I love movies. I don't typically like movies that are musicals. I do enjoy going to the theater and seeing a musical on stage.
Right.
Which is, to me, a more organic thing.
It's your set. You are buying into the story of, I'm watching a bunch of people break out into song.
Yes.
And it's easier to buy into that when it's on the stage.
I suppose that's the thing, right? So I typically don't like for instance, the Romeo and Juliet movie that Leonardo DiCaprio was in way back in the day. I honestly was horrified when I saw that movie, and I didn't see the whole movie because it got gonged right away for me, But the Les Miserables film, I was very excited about that because I love the stage show, and
it wasn't great,
and it just fell flat for me,
So there are things to be said about the Les Miserables movie. I will not get into it right now. Yeah. Better people have already gone into it. I'm not going to rehash their stuff, but I'll talk to you about it after.
Absolutely. But, so Soul, when I saw the trailer, I feared that this was going to end up being a basically one musical act after another telling the story. And I just had this concept in my mind that I'm just not going to enjoy this. I'm gonna watch it because my wife and I are avid Disney fans. We pretty much watch everything that they produce.
Same.
And but I was kind of going in with very measured expectations. And what I found was that yes, while music is a very prominent theme in the movie, it is, it's more the backdrop.
Right. It's more. The music is more of, instead of being, like the.
It's a plot device.
It's a plot device. Exactly. I was trying to think of the right word. It's character motivation for our main character.
Yep.
Joe, played by Jamie Foxx.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, fantastic job with that character.
Yep.
But yeah, like music is a big part of Joe's character. Like it's his driving force. It's the thing that he believes is his purpose in life, is to specifically play jazz.
And it's all consuming for him.
Oh yeah, it's everything about him.
Which is one of his problems.
Exactly. And I'm gonna say this right now, guys. We're not gonna spoil the story for you, because seriously, this is a movie that everyone should see unspoiled.
Yep.
So we're gonna talk more themes and like what we took away from it.
Yeah.
So if you have not seen Soul yet, stop watching this, go watch it. It's on Disney Plus, and then come back and watch this. And what you can have a discussion with us in the comments about, if you agree with our themes of our ideas or not. Because I feel like everyone can kind of take their own interpretation out of this. Okay, we're going in. So the whole point of the thing that I took away from Soul is, it's this kind of question that I've been asking myself for a really long time. What's biological life if we're not living in the moment? Mm-hmm. Like if we're just going through the drudgery of work, home, like if we're just following the same routine every day, are we really living?
Right.
I feel like Soul specifically like looks at Joe's life, like when he's examining himself, he realized that it was all worthless, it was all pointless, it didn't amount to much. And I'm a guy in my mid-20s, like I feel that, like when I was watching that, I'm like, oh God, is this what I'm gonna become? Like, is this gonna be my legacy? Is drudgery and failure every step of the way?
Yeah, I do feel it's one of those movies that you watch where you can't help but be introspective. You start really doing a lot of self-examination. And it's okay to question yourself. It's okay to question your day-to-day approach.
Exactly.
To whatever it is you do, because the movie is one part purpose, is finding purpose, but it's also about finding fullness.
Yeah, fulfillment in
within
those.
that purpose.
Exactly.
And they really kind of go hand in hand, and I think that's what, if this movie was just about purpose, I think that you'd find that a lot of people would have no problem with that end.
Right.
A lot of people are convinced that we already, I run a business. That's like I'm here for
to run my business, and that is
successful and everything like that. But there's but it's the fullness that goes along with the purpose, which is, okay, so how is that impacting other people, and how does that how do I please others through my purpose?
Right.
And also, therefore,
what brings you joy in your purpose?
Return and connection to those around me, right? And I think those themes are very effectively translated here in this movie.
Yeah.
And I found the movie at the end of the day to be a very rewarding experience.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And honestly, like before I watched it, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to enjoy this. Because honestly, when I saw some of the art, I thought, like, is this going to be like an Inside Out thing where we're going to be focusing on these concepts of, psychology and all that stuff? But it really gets into like spirituality, like not even necessarily like religious spirituality, but like the metaphysical concepts of hopes, ambition, purpose, the very nature of a soul itself.
Yep.
And then there's also, astral projection and things like that, like mysticism and things like that. And I'm like,
Yep.
And this is really heady stuff for a kids movie.
It really is, actually. I think it's more of a, even though it's a kids movie, I think it's more a movie for adults. I really do think it's more message driven.
Yeah,
towards a mature person.
And that's exactly it. It's like it's a movie you can show kids, and it can get kids thinking, especially like on like surface levels of like what makes me happy, and can I make that a purpose, or what are my sparks that make me who I am.
Yeah.
But for adult, I feel like this movie is made more for adults to like look back and be like, wait a minute, maybe I should do some introspection. I'll get back to you guys. No, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I'm very happy that I took the time to watch it, because I've done a lot of thinking over the last week or so of watching this movie, and I kind of put that up there as like maybe one of my favorite Disney movies now. Not because it's like, wow, exciting. It's like, no, like it's something that I think everyone needs to see. And everyone should do that introspection to, maybe grow, see what needs to change in your life.
Absolutely.
If you work a monotonous life and you don't feel fulfillment in it, take a step back.
Yeah.
Figure out what you can do to get that fulfillment from your purpose.
Absolutely.
And
I think it's probably, especially in a time right now where there's so much turmoil.
Exactly.
I think it is time, and because if you look outwardly, there's just so much strife. There's so much
animosity.
There's so much animosity. People treating each other poorly. That I think that maybe it is a time to look kind of inward.
Yeah.
And to do some self-examination. It's that could be a New Year's resolution for us all. We're so bad about, personally, I don't want to speak for all of you out there, but it's kind of like the running joke that New Year's resolutions are made to be broken, right? But I think this is one that really we should probably take more seriously, and maybe that's kind of what can I do to be a better person and to be to lead a more full life, because there are so many forces that are out of our control in this world.
Exactly.
And you can really drive yourself mad, if you dwell on those things too long.
I've got the grace to prove it.
The Serenity Prayer kind of comes to mind. And that prayer, the bottom line is it's basically allowing yourself to realize that you can only do so much and you can only control so much. So just really work on that.
Exactly.
And so at the end of the day, I think Disney, Pixar provided us a great Christmas present with this film that was obviously went under the radar.
Absolutely it did.
But really should be kind of at the top of people's lists, I think, if we want to see something that's a little more positive driven.
Exactly. And kind of tying back to what I said earlier in your discussion about music and things like that because music does play a huge part in Joe's story.
Yep.
And yes, it is his obsession and his goal, his purpose in life. The music also, I don't know, it spoke to me personally. I'm not musically inclined at all. I can't sing, I can't dance, I can't play instruments, but I still felt his passion and his joy while playing the music. So I don't know, that could be something that resonates with people too.
Well, it is jazz. Jazz is pretty awesome.
It is the language of the soul.
It is, exactly. And hence the title of the film.
Exactly.
Well, we hope you enjoyed this segment, and we hope you go out and enjoy the movie. And we'd love to hear from you and your thoughts about the movie, and if you agree that it is as impactful for you as it was for us, we'd love to hear that. If you disagree and you don't think it was as deep as we thought it was, we'd love to hear that too. We welcome your comments. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again soon. Good job.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, I got into I don't want to say existential dread, but it was really